Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Exciting day today. We're taking a look at this Chevy Volt 2013 after 20,000 miles of driving on it. So I've had this Chevy Volt now for a little over a year. It's been actually almost a year and a month, and I put on exactly 20,000 miles on it since ownership, and now we're dealing with about 87,000 miles on the Volt as a 2013. I bought it used, of course. And we are just taking a look at it after 20,000 miles. It rained last night, so it's a little dirty. I do want to show you the interior as well, but I want to give you my driving impressions, pros and cons, and kind of everything I've learned after 20,000 miles of ownership. So let's hop in the Volt, take it out for a spin, and see how she do. So just taking a look here, I just want to show you we're at 19,821 miles, just about 20,000 miles. We've used 258.2 gallons of gas, average 76.8 miles per gallon, and I just had an oil change done on it, and that's about it right there. So we are just setting off in the Volt here. Like I said, we got some rain last night, so the car is a little dirty. I do have to wash it today. But again, this is my daily driver, so I'm not overly worried about the exterior of the car. Now, when I did buy the car, I did have to do a paint correction on it. Of course, this color is like a silver ice blue sort of color, like a silver ice color, so it's really good at hiding the scratches and all of the paint swirl marks and everything like that have accrued on it after, what is it, a 2013, 12 years of usage on the road. And after my 20,000 mile experience, I have to say this is a car you get in and it just goes. There's no questions asked. There's no thrills to it. It just drives, and it drives really, really good. So if we're taking a look at the Chevy Volt as a GM moonshot, that's exactly what it was. So GM, when they came out with this car, I believe in 2012, this vehicle was a moonshot car for them. It was their first kind of real delve into electrification, and that meant that a lot of research and development money went into the Volt in order to make it right. And essentially that's what they did with the Volt. They made this right. You would be hard pressed not to find on the Volt forums these cars going 200,000 miles without any major issues, because Chevy put so much engineering into this vehicle. It essentially ran forever for a lot of people as their daily drivers, and I was lucky enough to find one with 67,000 miles on it and purchased it, of course, because A, it's cheap, and B, it's reliable, and C, it's not very fast. But nonetheless, Chevy lost about $45,000 for each Volt they produced. So this had a base price, and this is a base model vehicle. This had a base price of around $40,000 back in 2013, which back then is honestly quite a bit of money for a vehicle like this. Now, on the used market, they're totally different. You can pick up a Gen 1 Volt for under $10,000 all day with, medium miles on it. But anyway, so essentially this was an $85,000 vehicle for GM when they released it, but they were losing $45,000 per vehicle. So essentially you're driving a vehicle from 2013 that's worth $85,000 because of all of the tech in it. And I have to say, it's not very fast. I've done instrumented testing with this Volt. 0 to 60 is 9 seconds. It takes 9 seconds to reach 0 to 60. You're dealing with about 150 horsepower engine, and then you're dealing with about 200 pound-feet of torque for a vehicle that weighs with a single speed transmission, about 3,900 pounds. So it's not going to be fast. That's not exactly what it was aimed to be. Even its sibling, the Cadillac ELR, was not fast either. Again, that's not exactly what it was supposed to be. So essentially what you get with the Volt is a great driving dynamic vehicle. Of course, you're dealing with electric power steering, so you don't get a lot of road feel, but there's honestly more road feel in this than any of my SRT vehicles that I have, which is great. I do have to say I like that. And because most of the weight of the battery pack is down below the vehicle, you get a vehicle that drives really well. It drives fairly sporty. If you were to increase the horsepower of this vehicle, you're dealing with a hatchback that could be considered a fairly sporty hot hatch. It's really that good of a vehicle to drive, in my opinion. It holds the corners really well. It doesn't have a lot of body roll or lean. There is a little bit, but there's not a ton when it comes to the vehicle. Now, if you're looking for a GT car, this car is it. You can take this across the country and be totally comfortable in it. The shocks are set up, the springs are set up to be, fairly comfortable, but hold the vehicle in turns, which is really nice. And a lot of that, again, has to do with the center of gravity being lower, with the battery pack being down low. But honestly, this is one of the more comfortable and quiet vehicles that I have been in. Even wind noise, well, it's not great. It doesn't let a ton of wind noise in right now. Again, right now it's super windy out, so we're dealing with a lot of wind noise from that. But if you're looking at total driving comfort, this is great. And again, I have a base model, but if you're pairing this with a premium trim or an LT, something like that with leather in it, heated seats, heated steering wheel, dual zone climate control, you're dealing with a product that is, and power seats, you're dealing with a product that is a lot more comfortable than what we're in right now. I do have to say, this vinyl steering wheel has grown on me. I like the 10 and 2 grips a lot. I like that it's not perfectly round because of the 10 and 2 grips, but the leather steering wheel here is way better than this vinyl steering wheel from what I've tested out. It's just not very comfortable. Also, the seats, these cloth seats, well, they actually have a really nice design to them. It's for a smaller guy who doesn't get into the cushy part of the seat. They're like sitting on plywood, I have to say. I mean, after a while, you are going to get tired of sitting on these seats. There's no getting around that. The leather seats, from what I've tried, offer a lot more support, a lot more cushion to them than these cloth seats. But again, base model car, what do you expect? For me, when I bought this, I just wanted a Chevy Volt. I didn't care about the trim. I needed an A to B car that did its job really well and essentially put miles on it, because I do drive a lot per year. I probably drive, between all the vehicles I have, about 30,000 miles a year. So this does the majority of that driving. Now, if we're talking about winter performance, I've made some videos on that as well. I am damn impressed with the winter performance of this vehicle. I do have, on the fronts, I do have Continental True Contact Tour 54 tires on there, which are snow rated. They are great tires. I do have to say I like them a lot. That has helped out the wintertime experience of this vehicle tremendously. The grip is unmatched compared to something like a Michelin Cross Climate 2, which I want to experiment and try those on this vehicle as well. But the wintertime performance, again, I have to go back to the center of gravity being down low on the vehicle. All of the weight, or the majority of the weight of this vehicle is below my legs right now. So you're going to get a vehicle that doesn't tram line. You're going to get a vehicle that holds its own in the road, that doesn't get bounced around by snow or slush, light snow or slush. And and the traction control system here is set up to be very conservative, which is a good thing for a car like this. You're not buying this to take it to do spirited driving with. So it's set up very conservative to where any sort of tail happiness that happens, it quits it right away. It just totally puts a stop to it. So it's honestly very safe in the wintertime. Even through a couple inches, 2, 3, 4 inches of snow, driving it on roads like this while I'm driving to work, I feel very safe. And it's also a vehicle where if you're stopped at a stop sign, you can just get up and go. It doesn't necessarily spin the tires too much, and that's also thanks to the 1-speed transmission in here, because it just provides linear power all the time, linear torque all the time. So once you modulate the throttle, you can figure out where its best needs are in order to get up from a stop in the wintertime. I'm very happy with this car in the wintertime. It's honestly, it's the best front-wheel drive car I've used in the wintertime, bar none. So with that being said, if we're talking about reliability here, again, I haven't had any problems with this. I know when I first started there was kind of a clicking that happened in low gear, although that's kind of went away right now. Also, there's no creaks or cracks. Excuse me. There's no creaks or cracks in the interior. The only creak that I have is this rear light back here. Over bumpy roads, it tends to creak a little bit, rattle a little bit. Otherwise, there's no rattles with this car. It's great. Everything is in place. For a GM vehicle, guys, of this era in the early 2010s, when everything was still made sort of cheap, when they were just about ready to turn it over to their next generation of vehicles in 14 and 15, this is phenomenal. I mean, yeah, there's plastic pieces in here, but the way they were put together were great. I am impressed with this GM vehicle of this era. Impressed with it. It's really a nice put together interior. There's a lot of space in here. It's a shame they didn't offer a sunroof, but everything in here works. The Chevy MyLink system in here works tremendously well. No lag whatsoever. It shows you your information. It's got all your important bits and pieces out in front of you, easy to get to, no questions asked, and everything just works, and that's essentially what you want. Now, if we're talking about the exterior here, there's no cracks or rattles or creaks, anything like that happens when you're driving over bumpy roads, and trust me, we get a lot of that here in northern Wisconsin. Really just god-awful, terrible roads that, you know, you almost want a car like this to drive on because it's so bumpy and terrible. So going over bumps, no noises except the shocks and the springs. Otherwise, nothing to write it home about there, which is awesome. That's kind of what you want out of a vehicle. This vehicle, in terms of comfort and build quality, is basically no notes. If you have two vehicles, or if you need two vehicles, or if you need three vehicles and you need just a daily driver to get you from point A to point B, this Chevy Volt is great. Now, I need to move on to the battery performance here. So, in the wintertime, we've all started to figure out that electric cars in general, their battery range, because of using the heater, essentially depletes to almost 2/3 to 5/8 of what its full charge should be. So if you have a vehicle that is supposed to get 300 miles of range on a full charge, with the heater on in the wintertime, you'll be lucky to get 200 miles to a charge, maybe 180, just because of the fact that the heater takes so much battery power to essentially heat the cabin. So for me, right now when it's cold out, it's 41, especially more so in the wintertime when I have the heater pumping out air on full blast. You know, when I get to work, I'll leave with a full charge. Now the Volt is smart enough to realize how many miles you will get to a full charge. So I have about I want to say a 16 to 17 mile commute into work, and I will end with about 5 miles remaining in the wintertime on a full charge. If I can get 20 miles to a charge, maybe 21, 22, I'm doing extremely well. And a lot of it is back road driving. Of course, when you drive on the interstate or you're going faster than 60, the battery range, even in the summertime, really goes down. But what I've learned is that, you know, having this range extender up front, the generator, essentially that 1.4 liter generator up front, really helps out. But again, I struggle with the fact that if you're not buying this vehicle, you know, where you can plug it in at work, or you have a shorter commute, then it's not necessarily worth it because of that wintertime performance. You have to use premium gas for one, and in the wintertime, you'll be lucky to get 30 miles to a gallon once you run out of electric charge if you're doing a road trip or anything like that. Now in the summertime, it's totally different. I can get anywhere between 37 to 40 miles per gallon if we're doing a road trip and we're not using the heater and it's not cold out. So then it's totally worth it for the little bit of road tripping that we do with this vehicle. But in terms of electric performance, I'm getting to the time of year where I'm basically running on an electric mode now, and it works great. I enjoy it. I'm not putting a lot of money in this to run on gas, which is awesome. Now, I do have to say it does cost me now with the electricity increases, the price increases now. It's costing me about $60 to $70 a month to charge this vehicle and run this vehicle on pure electric, which is okay. That's way better than what my previous A to B vehicle was, which was a Ram truck. I was spending about $500 a month to run that. So I did the calculation the other day, averaging out to $4 a gallon for gas. And I think in total gas chargers I spent this year alone, or the last 20,000 miles, let's say, it was about, I don't know, $1,700. So not terrible, not terrible at all. And then you factor in the $60 to $70 a month in electric, and you're doing really, really, really well compared to a different vehicle, you know, that gets less miles per gallon. But again, I think the only vehicle that could really beat this in terms of efficiency for the type of driving that I've done is maybe a Prius. I mean, you need something that gets 50 to 60 miles per gallon on gasoline alone that can beat this in terms of total performance. So overall, I've been extremely happy with it. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't get anything else for this vehicle in terms of efficiency, because it's unbeatable. It's totally unbeatable. I left work on a full charge. Now I have half, I'll show you. I have half my battery power left, which is great. That's exactly what I want out of the vehicle. So we're gonna get this in the garage. I just wanna show you the interior really quick here, and we'll wrap this video up. Again, just taking a look at the exterior. The paint has held up really well. That's something I should have mentioned right away. Of course, I did a paint correction on it, but this paint is one of the better quality paints that I've had on a vehicle, the paint and the clear coat itself. Again, it's a little dirty. There's some stuff on it because we had a little bit of a thunderstorm last night. The interior isn't super clean either. I apologize. But again, you're dealing with a huge hatch here. So I have fit so much stuff into this vehicle, and you could put down the rear seats as well. And I mean, you're dealing with basically a mid-size SUV space with the rear seats down. It's fantastic how much room there is in here, and the actual roof space as well. So again, interior, the only thing that may turn some people off here is if you need 5 seats. But if you don't need 5 seats, the experience sitting in the rear is actually quite unique. It reminds me of like a Porsche Panamera, but clearly not as nice. But because you have, or even like a CLS, Mercedes CLS, you get this like mid console in here. It's pretty cool in a hatchback. But again, you know, decent materials. The interior is actually held up really, really well. Headliner, seats, everything. Now again, I'm about the only one that uses this vehicle. I have my fiance with me sometimes in it, but that's rare. If we're looking at, you know, passenger side here that gets used a little bit more, the cloth seats have held up great. And that's one thing that does need to be said. These are firmer seats, but because they are more firm, the cloth and the cushioning has held up better than most other vehicles. I don't mind the cloth in here. I wish I had heated seats and a heated steering wheel, and I wish they were a little bit more cushiony, but I truly don't mind the cloth. It really actually is pretty nice, I do have to say. But again, if we're taking a look on the side here, not a ton of use, really. There's a little bit of a crease right there, but honestly, you couldn't really tell if I didn't point that out. The seats have held up just tremendous. Even the steering wheel has held up very well too. But overall, this has been a great vehicle. I'm very glad that I purchased it here. And again, guys, if you're taking a look at the Volt and you're worried about the battery pack, don't be worried about it at all. This vehicle was a manufacturer buyback in 2014, and essentially GM had to fix the battery pack because it was like a cell issue. It's been on the road ever since. Been on the road for 11 years, so with no issues whatsoever. So again, very impressed with it, very happy with it, and would buy another one in a heartbeat. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe for more Volt content, and we'll see you in the next one.